Welcome to you all. On behalf of Medicine Department, I am Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar Shah, going to present or on lecture on ascites. We know that the three common causes of ascites in our country, first of all, abdominal tuberculosis, second thing, chronic liver disease with portal hypertension, third, intra-abdominal malignancy with peritoneal depositum. Besides these, another two common causes we frequently found in our practice. These are the congestive cardiac failure and nephrotic syndrome. So, when this is very much important in your bedside clinics, board viva and written exam. So, how can we evaluate this patient? We evaluate this patient from history, clinical examination, laboratory investigation, and finally, we conclude what happened regarding ascites. In our country, first of all, we should ask the patient from constitutional features like fever, anorexia, weight loss, along with abdominal pain, vomiting. In case of involvement of pulmonary tuberculosis, so we should ask regarding cough, breathlessness and hemoptysis. This goes to favor on abdominal tuberculosis. We know that in case of abdominal tuberculosis, intestine is the primary site along with the pulmonary TB. So, pulmonary TB and abdominal TB may be happen in together. Second thing, chronic liver disease, we can give history take history, jaundice, family history, accidental needle injury, unsafe sexual activity or unscreened blood transfusion, road traffic accident, any surgical procedure including dental procedure and so on. Along with other features of portal hypertension, its complication, encephalopathy and hematemesis, melena and etc. These favors on chronic liver disease with portal hypertension. Another complication we see is elderly patient has been suffering from recent onset alteration of bowel habit, and this bowel habit causes marked weight loss, unexplained anemia, along with any organomegaly in the abdomen and rapid weight loss. However, besides this, there is a long history of smoker, cough, hemoptysis, chest pain. This goes to the solid tumor, malignancy and metastasis to the liver including peritoneal deposition. So, in case of abdominal malignancy, intestine is the main source along with in female, elderly female, genital carcinoma and metastasis to the peritoneum is also considered. So, in solid tumor malignancy, where is the site and how it deposits, it should be find out. Another complication we discuss, we frequently found in our practice. These are the congestive cardiac failure. Patients say a very early onset of shortness of breath or orthopnea, cough, pink through the sputum, long history of chest pain or any valvular heart disease, which may precipitate the congestive cardiac failure. And that time patient will be orthopneic. He cannot lay down. He feels better in upright posture. So, another important causes of ascites is nephrotic syndrome. We know that in nephrotic syndrome, face will be involvement in the first and then involvement other parts of the body, it is called anasarca. And puffiness of face, periorbital edema is the first clinical clue which gives you, it means salt in kidney along with scanty urine. So, from history, this favors, from these history favors the favors to nephrotic syndrome, turns may be acute kidney injury or chronic renal disease, or chronic kidney disease. So, when we think what are the differential of ascites, we think it may be abdominal tuberculosis, chronic liver disease with portal hypertension, intra-abdominal malignancy or solid tumor malignancy deposits to the peritoneal cavity. And another complication is congestive cardiac failure and nephrotic syndrome. So, we first of all complete the history. Second, what are the findings? You look from the general examination which help you to reach the diagnosis of this differential. So, from the general examination, in case of abdominal tuberculosis, we found patient will be emaciated or little bit weight loss, dehydrated due to vomiting, and reduced skin turgor for dehydration, mild anemia, and any cervical lymphadenopathy for dissemination, and lymph node may be matted and firm in consistency, and so on. But in case of chronic liver disease, we found in stigmata of chronic liver disease, these are the jaundice, parotid swelling, clubbing, leukocythemia, Dupuytren's contracture, primary erythema, gynecomastia, testicular atrophy. These are the findings you found from the general examination, goes favor in chronic liver disease and chronic liver disease. In case of intra-abdominal malignancy, we found the patient is severely cachectic with short period of time, emaciated, severely anemic, some lymph node which is found Scalene lymph node or supraclavicular lymph node which is hard in consistency. You should keep in your mind that in case of malignancy, when it is disseminated to the lymph node, this lymph node is be hard and fixed to the underlying structure, and carefully examine the supraclavicular and Scalene lymph node, and this may be association with the clubbing, in associated with the bronchial carcinoma, or in complication of inflammatory bowel disease. We know that inflammatory bowel disease is another complication of intestinal carcinoma, colon cancer, and which may be metastasis to the peritoneal cavity and may causes the ascites. So, this may give you the clue. And when you feel the patient is orthopneic and cyanosed and tachycardic pulses alternance is present, this goes favor on congestive cardiac failure. When you found the puffiness of face, periorbital edema, 3+ leg edema, and leukocythemia, this is called nephrotic syndrome. So, in the evaluation of ascites, we think 5 important differential, and we clinically evaluate the patient up to from the history and general examination. Now, systemic examination, how can reach the diagnosis of these 5 conditions to reach the ascites, what are the causes. We evaluate the ascites now, the systemic examination. In case of abdominal tuberculosis on inspection, and however, ascites we can detect by the shifting dullness or or fluid thrill. In case of huge ascites, we elicit the ascites by fluid thrill, and mild to moderate ascites is elicited by the shifting dullness. And in that case, normally our abdomen is scaphoid in shape, but in case of ascites, when fluid accumulates in the dependent part of the abdomen and it may turns to distended abdomen and scaphoid shape will be obliterated. Flanks are full and abdomen is distended, umbilicus is centrally placed. But when including this feature, umbilicus is everted, then it is huge ascites. So, in case of mild to moderate ascites, we clinically detect by shifting dullness, and in case of huge ascites, we clinically detect by fluid thrill. But what happened in case of abdominal tuberculosis, where the special clue would give us the information regarding the diagnosis. In case of abdominal tuberculosis, when we palpate the abdomen, it feels the doughy feeling. So, it is very much common question frequently asked in exam board in abdomen. In case of abdominal tuberculosis, what happening? So, in palpation, we found it will be doughy feeling. And in case of abdominal tuberculosis, we can found in case of right iliac fossa. Right iliac fossa, we know that when infected sputum or milk product contaminated by bacteria, mycobacterium, this is impacted in terminal ileum. Here they ulcerate and fibrosis and penetrates through the wall, and lymph node involvement, mesenteric lymph node involvement, and also peritoneal deposition occur. This is the in brief pathogenesis of abdominal tuberculosis. So, in that cases, we found the right iliac fossa mass, ill-defined mass, a size is variable, but it should be another others differential. So, in case of abdominal tuberculosis, in a brief, we found the doughy feeling along with mass in right iliac fossa, or most frequently found in right iliac fossa, may be found any other sides of the abdomen. It may be hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, and etc. But in case of chronic liver disease, we know that infrequently in cirrhosis of patient, liver will be shrunken. Some few exceptions, but we will not discuss here. Shrunken liver. So, we first of all liver dullness will be obliterated, and normally liver dullness is right fifth intercostal space, but here liver dullness will be right fourth intercostal space, and will be splenomegaly, which indicate the definite sign of portal hypertension. Some few inspection findings we found for portal hypertension. This is caput medusae along the in the center of the umbilicus, around the umbilicus, radiating bloods, radiating vessel around the away from the umbilicus. This is very much important clue. Normally, it is usually occurs in very lenient thin patient, but it is not significant. But in case of chronic liver disease patient, it is very much significant, indicated portosystemic shunting due to portal hypertension. But when intra-abdominal malignancy, what happening in palpation of abdomen, we to find out the focus of the malignancy, and in that cases ascites is huge ascites is present, and in that time we cannot find the organomegaly normally. So, in that cases we have to find out the liver spleen by dipping method. Why? We have to find out the organomegaly as I discussed you, intestinal malignancy is the most common causes of intra-abdominal malignancy, and so we have to palpate in right iliac fossa, left iliac fossa found in mass. So in right iliac fossa, I have already discussed you, abdominal TB is another differential diagnosis, carcinoma cecum is another differential diagnosis, any lymphoma, appendicular lump, and so on. But so when we thinking that it may be the ascites may be the intra-abdominal malignancy, so we first look for right iliac fossa for any mass. So it mass may be carcinoma cecum, or it may be happening in left iliac sites carcinoma in sigmoid colon, but it usually not palpable. But we know the patient is a known case of chronic liver disease with portal hypertension, and that time I already discussed you, in cirrhotic patient liver is not palpable, but in background of cirrhosis, when you see that there is an enlarged tender hard liver, then would it be a case of HCC, hepatocellular carcinoma on the top of CLD, and it metastasis to the peritoneal cavity. So this is the maybe the site we look at for intra-abdominal malignancy, but in case of women and elderly patient, or it may be ovarian carcinoma, or maybe the uterine carcinoma which metastasis to the liver. Another solid tumor malignancy which metastasis to the liver from the breast cancer and carcinoma lung which may metastasis to the liver and also peritoneal cavity which may causes the intra-abdominal malignancy with not only for intra-abdominal malignancy causes the ascites, other solid tumor may deposits to the liver, and from the liver it may be deposits into the peritoneal cavity, also causes the malignant ascites. Ascites due to malignancy. So these are the three important cases, but in case of intra-abdominal malignancy, in case of male, we must do digital rectal examination. But if we bedside did not complete the digital rectal examination, it is a crime and offense, and so be careful when you face the long case in your final prof examination. Another two causes remaining for discussion, these are the congestive cardiac failure. We know that in case of congestive cardiac failure, the liver will be hard, soft, little bit tender, and no any other organomegaly is found in during abdominal examination. But in case of nephrotic syndrome, only for ascites, no any organomegaly is found in abdominal examination. So how can investigate this patient? So I always say you, in our country we have low resource, so we should clinically evaluate the patient, how to reach the diagnosis, how to face the problem. So when we practice this, it will improve our clinical skill, and we can serve the people with a low cost. So how can investigate this patient? First of all, we investigate this patient as a very simple investigation, and first of all, so CBC with ESR, this will help me. There will be low hemoglobin, but in case of malignancy, anemia will be marked than tuberculosis. In case of chronic liver disease, usually pancytopenia may be found. Pancytopenia indicate that is the hypersplenism. But in case of congestive cardiac failure and nephrotic syndrome, unless complicated by CKD, there will be no change in hemoglobin level. ESR may be raised in non-specifically, but markedly raised in tuberculosis and intra-abdominal malignancy. And second thing is the urine examination is very much important, but nowadays we ignore this. And the urine test is very much important. When urine routine examination gives a 3+ albumin, this gives idea about the nephrotic syndrome. And then chest X-ray, it gives clue regarding pulmonary tuberculosis and congestive cardiac failure, and that time the heart will be enlarged, and bilateral proliferation and bed swing appearance indicate the heart failure, or any other findings may be found in case of tuberculosis. It may be consolidation or patchy opacity, etc. And ECG, this will gives us the clue regarding old myocardial infarction, acute infarction. We know that in case of heart failure, it may be complicated by acute myocardial infarction, or maybe the history of old myocardial infarction, or any constrictive pericarditis. ECG will gives us a clue. So these basic thing you have to know. First of all, CBC, urinary, chest X-ray, ECG. So later on, special investigation for reach the diagnosis. Special in the investigation, liver function test. In case of chronic liver disease, liver will be liver function test, SGPT, alkaline phosphatase, and however, most important things is alteration of liver synthetic function, albumin globulin ratio. Albumin will be low and globulin will be high, so albumin globulin ratio will be altered. Prothrombin time will be high. To find out the cause how liver chronic liver disease occurs, so screening for most common cause is viral cause, HbS-AG, NT-HCV, etc. Ultrasonogram give us a best clue, and which causes the liver is shrunken, cirrhotic, and splenomegaly, ascites, etc. But we can aspirate the ascitic fluid and do for investigation. These are the we have 4 test tube is required. Any fluid collection, first of all, the physical appearance of the fluid. Second thing, it is sent for the biochemistry department for analysis of the protein and sugar, and hematology department analysis of total count, differential count. But in case of tuberculosis, it is very much helpful to us. In sugar will be low, protein will be high, and total count may be raised, and differential count, lymphocyte will be high rather than neutrophil. But then we go for microbiology department for fluid for gel nation staining, but less than 5% patient has found this positive of gel nation stain, acid fast bacilli, but we can detect the malignant cell from ascites, but it requires at least more than 1 liter of fluid. These fluids must be centrifuged and detect the malignant cell. It gives us the clue regarding the malignancy. So another thing is urinary total protein for giving us the nephrotic syndrome, urinary total protein. Last of all, renal biopsy, which gives the idea regarding histological idea where nephrotic syndrome is happening, which is very much important for our treatment purpose. Some additional investigation we can do for the treatment. These are the blood sugar, creatinine, lipid profile, etc. So this is all about evaluation of ascites, and it may be vary on patient age, risk factor, and etc. So carefully history should be taken. So hope you will enjoy this class, and see you next class.